Okay.
Sam, you got it, or the
Yeah, I just keep turning away and there it goes.
Okay, and did we prop open the back door?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, we're not being, are we being recorded right now?
Yeah.
We are now live and recording, all set.
Thank you, Dad.
You need to announce again. If you're just joining us, this is a special meeting of the McMinnville Water and Light Commission being held on Tuesday, December 5th. We've just completed an executive session and are now moving into open session to first discuss the approved revised general manager job description and then the approved general manager evaluation salary consideration. And I've asked Commissioner Tate to oversee these proceedings.
Okay. So we're gonna switch items 4 and 5 so we can approve the job description before moving ahead to the evaluation. So the job description was provided as part of our meeting packet, and there has been some changes to the essential job functions. And I hope everybody's had a chance to review those. I think a lot of it was some really good clarification, and I think some of it came from the fact that we completed the strategic plan in 2023, which sort of gave some more specific direction in some of the areas around the job functions, or connected the strategic plan to the job functions. So is there anybody who would like to has any comments or want to discuss some of this?
So, Sam, if we adopt what we've kind of revised, or you helped us revise today, and 6 months from now, we're kind of looking at stuff and we say, you know, guys, something might need to be changed or whatever. This is dynamic and we could change it at a,
Right, and this is, I mean.
and
this
we
is-
have control of this document, so we could change it every meeting if we need it.
Yes, this is a living
Nothing
document.
against-
That'll be helpful for you.
You really ought to review it every time you do that.
No,
Every annual
I think
review
we
should
should have.
Yeah.
involve a review in the job description.
That
Yeah.
is ideal every time. you have
No,
a
I think,
description.
yeah. If we do it again next year, I mean, we're tuned into that, yeah.
So there was one edit that I wanted to make, and we've discussed this multiple times, so it's not a surprise to anybody. But in job function number 10, you'll see in blue, it's already been added, regular monthly meetings with the city manager. What I've like also represented in there is regular quarterly updates to the McMinnville City Council, and that's reflective of work that happened in the joint Water and Light Commission and McMinnville City Council meeting, and was an agreement that the two bodies made to reciprocate in both of those directions, and we stated at that time that we would enshrine it here as well, even though it can be changed again. But still, we said we would do
I
that
wouldn't-
work, and we will also be doing that. My intention would be to also do similar work at the city level, and so that would be my one edit on the job description.
I was, in my mind, I was thinking more about as employees change, we got some numbers we poked in here, that kind of stuff. I you know, you've asked to do that and I would never change that.
So I move that we.
I have one comment if I could. Regarding item 10, I actually feel like with the mayor's recommendations, that we actually have a 10th job duty, or 11th, and make that its own standalone. And I would recommend that we put an action in front of regular monthly meetings to say attends regular monthly meetings, and then provides quarterly presentations to city council, or how the mayor, I would call that out as a 11th item.
They're in person presenting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's not saying that.
no,
She said,
so if I understand your recommendations and the fine tuning here is that we would break away the addition to job function number 10 of regular monthly meetings with the city manager, make it action, item 11, which will be, attends regular monthly meetings with the city manager and presents in person quarterly to the McMinnville City Council.
Quite a clarifying question. Is that, so is regular monthly meetings with the city manager and attendance the meetings, is that both under item 11?
I think that would be both under item 11.
Okay.
So it speaks specifically to the utility and city relationship.
I move we make those revisions.
Second,
The motion by Chair Tankersley and a second by Commissioner Gormley. All those in favor, please
Aye.
signify by saying aye.
aye.
Okay.
And those
Aye.
say nay. And the motion passes unanimously.
Tom, you ready for the whole thing?
Great.
That completes the modifications of the document, then we need to adopt it in total, right? Or was it?
I think you just approved it as,
Okay, I thought we were,
as amended by.
as a, okay, so that,
That was the
Right.
intent of my motion.
okay,
To do the
Right, super.
amendment
And then, so it'll end up being, it'll be finalized, the mayor will end up signing the approved form, dating it, and we'll move forward with that job description.
and you'll send us this new description, right?
I will do that.
Please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so that would move us ahead to approving the general manager evaluation and the salary consideration. So I would see if somebody would like, should I make a motion? Or do
I
you want to
think-
have any discussion, I guess?
I think it
before
might be
that?
appropriate that we just make a general statement
Okay.
about
Mhm.
our, we as a committee, or you as the chair of the committee, your feeling about
Sure.
his
Yes,
his success with
yes,
us. Okay.
yes, I forgot all of our discussion was not in public.
So,
Um,
excuse me for just a second. As I remember, we've done this before. There was some question about employee evaluation records being private unless the employee wanted it discussed in public. Is that correct? Sam?
Well, the employee has a right, actually, the evaluation, if the employee wants the evaluation done in an open session, the employee has a right to request that. And actually has a right to do it in an open session. So that is true. Once you adopt the evaluation, it's going to become a public document.
Okay.
So, I mean, once it's finally
Okay,
adopted.
thank you.
We've always historically made a statement
Mhm.
about our, what we feel as a commission.
Yes. So, so yes, so the general manager evaluation process, has been completed. It, began in, maybe, October, November time period with we have a personnel committee, and, we were able to, meet with the commission as a whole, after all of the commissioners had a chance to participate in an evaluation process. We had, worked together to, come up with a combined, rating for each of the competency categories that are directly tied to, the job description for the general manager. And, the overall evaluation was very strongly, exceeds, standards, and all of the commissioners were very much aligned with the work that, Mr. Dietz is doing and how he's leading the organization. And we're very, happy and, very, very glad to have him as a leader of this organization. So we are giving him a very positive evaluation and ready to, proceed with the salary consideration adjustment for this.
And
For
for the
this
record,
next
I
year.
think we want to make it very clear that we really want him to stay working for us.
We really do. Yes, yeah. So
Okay.
is that
Um,
okay?
It is
Okay.
good. Did you,
Okay.
I mean, I know, do you want to talk any about the goals for 2024? Is that something you want to consider? I know it's part of it's in the evaluation form.
Yeah.
It is prospective.
Mhm,
You don't have to.
mhm.
I'm just throwing that out there.
How's everybody feeling about that?
I feel as though it's been reviewed, but I think also the time is now. So if
Okay.
we want to have discussion about those goals, then let's do it.
Okay, how about, are you good?
Yeah.
Well, I would like to say that, the goals that are that are in this document as a part of this evaluation process are separate from the organizational goals, which we spent a considerable amount of time in 2023 this current year, working on our strategic plan. There's a lot of goals that came out of that process. Of course, all of those are tied to John and his leadership here, but what we really wanted to include in this document is the specific goals that John was going to be pursuing on a personal level, connected to his role as general manager for the next year of 2024. And I think a good it's very purposeful to have this as part of this document, because over the course of the year, for evaluation purposes and at the end of 2024, it really gives us some very strong talking points and some important conversations to have with John about the work that he's personally done for the year for the organization. So I personally really like that it's very specific to the general manager, and that we can use this for talking points as we're looking at the organization as a whole. So yeah, I don't know if you'd like to go through all of the goals, or if everybody's had a chance to review them and you're happy with how they're presented.
I appreciate the way that they're presented. I think they're very clear. And that it'll be very easy to put check marks next to them, which means that we're able to clearly communicate that they've been completed or are in process as we get to the end of the year. So I think this is nice and clean, and I like that about it.
So one of the things Kathy and I talked about, especially when we talked about the financial stuff in great detail, was that we as a board need to take some ownership of we need to take ownership of the information that's provided for us in the packet. And, we don't have any meetings that we coast at, so to speak, and out the door we are in 20 minutes. We usually have some tough meetings and everybody's kind of pooped, and we get to the end of the meeting and John gives his report and we're all anxious to hit the door or hit the pizza or whatever you got in the back. But I think once a month during his presentation, we should say, how are you doing with our goals? That we owe that to him. That. The other thing Kathy and I discussed was there's a lot of financial information in that packet. And we need to promise each other and commit to each other, we're going to look at that in detail. And if maybe we can help find something because of that detail that, it's a dynamic document. It's tough. And so, as you know, we had some issues with some of our meetings and I think if we were doing it more often, it might make it easier. And we discussed that with you too, that would be a big help to staff.
So one of the things that I always look at is, there's the detailed financials, but there's also a sheet at the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's the sheet that I look at first. And if I see anything unusual there, I go to those others because that's kind of the highlights, the recap. And so if there's anything else in there that commission thinks that we should have there as a kind of a point that, hey, we want to see this more highlighted, I think that's where we would add something like that. So as you're reviewing things, it would be good to let me know because we can add things to that financial sheet up front. Because the other part is so detailed and it's very difficult to read. And so having that up front really helps to kind of get through that detail.
And part of it goes back to we're going to have these assumptions that we're going to be given by the consultant that this is how we're going to ratchet things up.
Right.
But as we're looking at that each month, we can say, well, do we really need to spend the capital this month? Some stuff, when we've ordered a truck, you got to pay it. But there's some stuff that maybe we could defer in helping maintain our cash position. I want to make sure myself that spend more time with that stuff instead of just popping that one sheet and kind of, okay, well, we got money.
And so that's, part of the thing that I'm looking at is, for example, I'll give another example, the budget document. It's a document that's this thick, but we have one chance that we review with the commission. So what I want to do is I'm going to break that into pieces. So we're going to have like a work session on the capital piece. We'll have a work session on the other, the operating portion, or even the personnel portion, so that it's not so overwhelming.
That would be great.
At one point.
Yeah.
You can see what's really happening.
Yeah.
And I know you've made
Yeah.
that comment before.
Yeah, that would be
I mean,
great.
15 minutes covers a lot of stuff.
Right.
When it's broken down small pieces.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Which could be
bites.
part of your presentation to us. Before we leave tonight, we're going to talk about.
Right. you know, I want to break it down in little bites because it's
Thank
much easier to digest that way.
Yeah,
So.
for sure.
And John, I know it's helpful to me, but is it also helpful to you and staff if, as we're looking at things, if before the meeting, if questions come up, we call you
Yeah.
and say, what about this? Because it may not, the answer may not be obvious.
Right.
Or it may be a really dumb question and it's, you're very nice about saying, well, here's the answer. Then I can say, oh, I don't need to waste this time on that. So-
No, I think that's helpful if you
Yeah.
have something, because that way we can have an answer and to bring it in the meeting, then all the commission can hear it too.
Yes,
And I think that's important too.
yes, yeah.
So,
Okay.
Okay.
Any other conversation around goals?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, John?
I have none. I think they're pretty, I laid them out specifically that way because I'm like Remy said, I like
Yeah.
checking things.
Yes.
That's
To-do
important. to me.
list.
Yeah, well, you
Get
did,
the list.
yeah, well, I
That's-
appreciate the work that you did with that. Okay, so I think, we are ready to maybe, to move ahead with approving the general manager evaluation then.
Right, and
Is
do you
that
want
okay?
to, we could do this in one fell swoop with the salary if you want, and
Sure.
if you wanted to talk about that at this point.
I
Sure,
think the salary, yeah, go for it.
no, you, I,
The salary recommendation is a 10% increase on the base salary plus a monthly automobile stipend that is not currently in the packet. Do you want me to name that amount or not?
Yes, it'll be named, so $800 a month. So that, and that, as indicated in the evaluation, is presented as part of the evaluation salary recommendation. So that will move Mr. Deeds to a base annual salary of $276,954. Plus the monthly car allowance of $800.
yes,
With that, if you want, if you're ready and you want to adopt the evaluation together with that salary recommendation, that can be one motion.
I would entertain. I'll go.
But before we have the motion, I would just like to say that this salary, in my experience, not only from the Milliman survey, but also from talking to people at other utilities, is certainly within the reasonable range for what John offers us, and I'm happy to vote for it. So,
I think one of the things over the years we looked at is if the big red truck came along and John was not with us, what is it going to take to get the next guy? And that we were always over the years concerned about, is that salary adequate? And it always has been.
Would entertain a motion to approve the salary recommendation and a performance evaluation for 2023.
I'll move.
I have a motion from Commissioner Christensen
second,
and a second from Commissioner Tate. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed say nay. And the motion passes unanimously. And
Thank you.
yes, thank you
Thanks
very
you.
much. Thank you all for your work on this and thank you especially Commissioner Tate, thank you so much for leading this meeting today. And thank you both Commissioner Tate and Commissioner Gormley for the work and the additional work that you've done over the last many months with their general manager and